welcome to the Cultural Revivalist Kitchen. Today, Lindsay and I are going to show you how to make mead. You can make your very own mead, like a Viking. It'll be fun.
We've been getting into Viking history lately. So, we've put off doing alcoholic ferments for a while. Mostly because they seemed intimidating, I think. And the one disaster attempt I had of making beer turned out terrible. So, I had avoided them and we just had to mess with it. And then we were reading Sandor Katz, and wild fermentation, by the way, great place to start if you're not sure where to go. It's kind of the guy for ferments. And he was talking about tej, which is a honey wine, basically mead. And all it is honey and water. And I went,
We can do that.
So this one is a little trickier than some as far as consistency of results. It depends on your house, it depends on your honey. Ideally you want a raw, local honey, and it's a substantial amount of honey. So this is one of the more expensive ones, and if it doesn't turn out...
Joke about your honey.
Yeah. My honey's actually here, standing behind the camera. So
And it's a Viking, so I guess you're all set.
So, we're going to cut down the batch. In the book, he has a whole gallon. And we're going to do this in a half gallon so that you don't need anything other than what we normally have around. So, we have two different kinds of ferments that we deal with. Anaerobic, which is the closed sealed ones that we usually put a fermentation top on. That includes our sauerkraut and some of the others. All the lacto ferments are typically anaerobic, so you don't want any air in them. Kombucha is an aerobic ferment, so you want the air in it. This one combines both. So you have a stage of aerobic fermentation, which is for collecting all the natural yeasts from the air, which is what makes your mead. And then an anaerobic one, which is what makes it bubbly and boozy, ideally, in theory. So you can cheat. You could use a starter culture of some good quality raw mead, local mead. I don't know, is raw mead a thing? I don't know.
Should be.
It should be. Anyway, so if you have some mead, or you can go to the homebrew supply or a local, alcohol making establishment, and you can get some yeast to do it that way. But for a wild ferment, which is kind of what we stick to, it's really easy. So it's a cup and a half of honey, and this is an organic honey, but it's not a raw honey, which may have been why I had some challenges the first time. But it does work. It can work. Especially when you have all the other things going on in your house. So we also get asked a lot about having multiple ferments in the house. What is your stance on that?
I haven't had any problems so far. My house isn't huge. They all just basically line the counter and the bookshelf in the other room, but sometimes on top of the fridge. But they're all close together, and I haven't noticed any problems. I've heard people concerned about cross-fermentation, whatever, but I haven't noticed a problem. So I guess my stand is, I think what I've heard you tell someone before is, if you have a problem, move them apart. Otherwise, we wouldn't worry about it.
That's usually my stance. I see a lot of people online teaching about fermentation or with books about fermentation who seem to make it a lot more complicated than
Did you plan that?
it is. No, that was just perfect. See how it works when things come together? So this is about a cup and a half of honey. And we're doing a half gallon of mead. So the rest of it is just water. Again, with the purified water, this is good quality well water. I'm gonna laugh when this is exactly right too. We got a little more than we need. Just stay it up line. Pretty close. So it says to stir it. You could stir it. I'm gonna just shake it because that's more fun.
Or you could use one of our nice little cultural revivals.
We do. We have all the fun tools.
You can get these and our custom cutting boards on our website if you want to have some nifty tools, because then you'd be cool.
Right.
Or you could just shake it. It's fine too.
You'll know though if you don't have real honey because it won't respond the same at all. And that is, honey unfortunately is one of the top food frauds. I like that term because unfortunately that's the thing that's happening. And so a lot of honey from the grocery store in the Little Bear is mostly corn syrup or other sweeteners that is not honey. But this one at least has some honey in it. And so once you're all mixed up, this is where your aerobic fermentation starts. So these are coffee filters. This, someone suggested to me and has changed my whole view on life with this. I used to put towels over the little cloths and cut them all out and make them all pretty. Coffee filters are where it's at for all these. And then you let this sit somewhere in your house. I'm gonna try this batch outside because I was having problems with the first batches inside. So whatever you feel like you will get the best yeast collection, or you can start it with a little Mead and give it a little jump start.
Where we are, it's a very nice time of year to try a ferment outside. It's warm, it's not ridiculously hot anymore, but it's warm. It's not gonna freeze over at night yet. So if you, obviously you have to take your climate into consideration if you're gonna try a ferment outside.
The other risk is we live in a high mold area because we're coastal in Virginia, and so you run a higher risk of mold if you leave it outside or in an area that has that. But the idea is you leave it for 3 days. Every day you stir it or shake it. Clean tools every time, please. And then after 3 days, ideally you have some bubbles. And the bubbles mean it's doing a thing. It's fermenting. So in the wild fermentation recipe, he has you put it in a carboy with an airlock, but because we're doing half gallons, this will give you the exact same result. So after the 3rd day, once you're nice and bubbly and happy and has collected all the yeast from the air, to turn it into alcohol, we're gonna do this. Because as soon as you close it up, you're still gonna have carbon dioxide, which is the off-gassing byproduct of fermentation. But you need it to be closed up. So you could put this in a bowl if you're concerned about it bubbling over. Just keep an eye on it, see what it does. And this takes 3 to 4 weeks to turn into booze. Alcohol's a little longer process.
So I'm sure that there will be a more in-depth video on how this turned out in our 201 series.
Yes.
You'll be able to find soon.
But we're gonna get it started for now, so get yours started and then come back and we'll have the 201 release to see what you do with it from there. And good luck.